The White Screamer. Now, this is an urban legend in White Bluff, Tennessee, where you'll find the locals whispering about the White Screamer. And some claim that there has been a hulking of some creatures, while others merely look at their like their deadbolts. Now, legend has it that an old couple in the woods and had in their hid terrifyingly ugly children in the basements. When it grew old enough, it escaped, killing the parents sneaking into the woods, and only one was able to scream with abandoned in the chill of night. And supposedly pets and cattle have fallen prey to the white being. Hello, and welcome to Down the Let me try again. Welcome back to Down the Rabbit Hole. Today we're going to be talking about another Tennessee urban legend. This is called the the White Screamer, and this happens in Trace, Tennessee. So I love some urban legends. But if you're new here, please hit that like button, ring that bell for notifications. Also, please subscribe. Help a girl out. Go check my merch shop out. Do for crying out loud. But anyway, today we're gonna be talking about, as I said, the White Screamer. So it's important to know that in an isolated area known as Trace Creek, this is not far from what is now Highway 47, which crosses into southwest Montgomery Bell State Park. There was a young family whose names are lost to history trying to make a new life in 1920s rural Tennessee. And the families had 7 children, the oldest being around 14 and the youngest 6. And there was nothing remarkable about them. In the area, they just saw many young families spread to rural areas of Tennessee in the history at the end of World War One to restart their lives. And the patriarch of this family could well have been one of those returning veterans, and he built a typical cabin style home in the bottomlands in the southeast of White Bluff and planted their crops, as well as with their work until the screaming started. That night, on the very first night in the unsettling for the quiet rural farm, the screeching wall echoed throughout the valley, and the children and their mom waited silently in the cabin as their father took the lantern around the house to investigate. But there was nothing to be found. Now he dismissed the noise as soon as some sort of injured animal. However, the following night, the screaming grew louder, so frequent that after a few weeks in disturbance, sleep was impossible for any of them, and the children were terrified of the coming night. So, when the sun went down, the screams would start again, and the father, desperate to rid his family of this horrible screaming, sat on the porch one evening, rifle in his hand, watched as the sun sank down in the surrounding hills. When, in the last light of the day, it extinguished itself, he told his wife and kids to lock the windows and to only open it when he returned. Now that familiar eerie feeling welling began almost immediately after dark, and he stilled himself soon and said goodbye to his family, and then set out to the woods. Tonight he he would go and find the source of the screams that would torment so he could torment his family. Now, the ceaseless scream pierced his ears, and he bounded thoroughly into a thick bush, and the man was determined through an icy chills um that ran through his body every time he heard a scream started. This was an expert woodsman, but struggled to keep his bearings when he lost tracing the sounds through the fogs. Now, every time he thought he was getting nearer, the unnerving walls would suddenly move forward into his direction, and every time he felt he was walking in circles, or the screaming was actually encircling him. What was there more than one beast out there taunting him? Horrible sounds echoed off the large trees, made traveling the source nearly impossible. He extinguished his light and knelt down, trying to pinpoint the direction of the screams. He would say, "If I can't find it, I will let it find me," where he would crouch and wait. And suddenly, the horrible wail began mixed in the blood-curdling screams of a woman and of children. Whatever the thing was, it had found his family. He raced through the fog and brush, his heart pounding with every football, and he, he cried out, but only the terrified screams of his family replied. And after what seemed like an eternity, he could make them to the lantern lights. He was almost there, and the screams abruptly stopped. Now, the man burst through the cabin to find a gruesome scene. The bodies of his wife and children were strewn about the cabin, and their lifeless forms torn to shreds. After the collapse in the horror of disbelief, the eerie wailing starting again. This is something you can find in a horror movie now. But there are many versions of this tale that do not end. Some say that after finding his family slain, the man set out on a murderous rage to hunt down the assailant, only for him to find a female ghost. And another variation says he encountered a great beast with ripe fur. Now, do we believe all of these? I personally don't. But anyway, there is also rumors that it could be a screamer as well. Yeah. And a banshee, now this is according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, is a female supernatural being of Celtic folklore whose nightly ratings foretells the death of a family member of the person who hears it. Interesting. Now, there are also many stories originating in the U.S. about banshees, particularly in North Carolina and South Dakota. Now, a different possibility involves another long-standing fable from Dixon County, and this is the legend of the Wolf Springs, the Werewolf Springs. Now, in the 1860s, tale says a passing circus train either stopped or unexpectedly derailed outside of Bern Station, Tennessee, and many of the circus animals escaped, surrounding the countryside. Any of the animals could be recaptured or were left behind. And among the elusive escapees were two known as the Wolfman of Borneo. Oh my gosh. And a side act of these talented men of half man, half beast were able to shapeshift it well. I believe these were just men who just had that deformity. Because you gotta remember, a lot of times, a lot of people with deformities ran away to join the circus because they knew they would be accepted. But yeah, anyway, 2 years after this train incident, the landowner and one of the foremen was passing through the area and now called the Werewolf Springs unofficially, on their way to the homestead nearby Beckley. And it was dark and the road was so muddy and slow, and the foreman kept persisting his boss that he felt like something was stalking them. The man dismissed the notion as cowardice, forced his wagon to push through in the night. Suddenly, a wild owl pierced in the twilight, and the creature emerged on the road behind him. But the creature would never come to him. But yes, what do y'all think of this now? Do y'all believe in this folklore? I am very curious. If you're from the area, I'm dying to know, like, do y'all have any insight into this? But that is it for this episode. I will see y'all next time, and we will be talking about the Crazy George Bridge. Y'all have a good day. I know it's hot outside, so try to stay cool.